Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with yet another deck tech that I've been inspired by when it's been played against me. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think of what I'm talking about today. So, what am I talking about today? Well, again, a bit like the deck earlier in the week when I did Verena, today's one's another tribal deck, but it's a tribe that I think was really popular in the past, but seems to have fallen out of favour in recent times. And this one, for your information, is Inalla, Archmage, Ritualist, 2 blue, black and red for 4/5 legendary human wizard, and it's probably got one of the more controversial commander abilities that ever been printed. It's got Eminence, and this one's Eminence is whenever another wizard enters a battlefield under your control, if it's a non-token, you can pay 1, you get a copy of that wizard, and it gains haste until the end of turn, then you have to exile it. But you've also got the second ability. It says tap 5 untapped wizards you control, target player loses 7 life. Why they picked 7, I don't know. I'm sure there's some explanation. If you do know the explanation as to why they picked 7 life, can you just leave it down below in the comments for me? Because I've been trying to work it out and I can't find it anywhere. But anyway, it's another one of the decks that's played against me over the time I had off when I wasn't streaming and I was just playing for fun when I had a bit of time. And again, it's another one that inspired me. Now, my deck again is actually this time is very similar to the one that was played against me, but I've tried to keep the costs down a little bit. Not the ticket side of it. The ticket side is not too bad, but if you're looking at building it in real life, the person who's playing against me had all the OG jewels in it, had every single type of mana crypt, mana vault, all the rest of it in it. Yes, I know I've got them on MTGO. Yes, I know you've seen them in other decks, but I decided for this one I was going to try and keep it a little bit cheaper in case anyone wanted to try and build this in real life. So here's what the deck list looks like. Da-da! I feel I should say that since it's a wizard deck. Anyway, so we've gone down the usual selection of blue, black and red lands. As you can imagine, Crumbling Apocalypse was here. We've got down the bottom somewhere Xander's Lounge, Tomb of Herbal, Temple of the False God. 3 of each basic. But we went with red and black ones. We went with 4 for the islands, but I have got Urborg in here as well to help us out a bit. Obviously, this deck's got Field of the Deck and then a Fable Passage because you're playing 3 colours, getting 7 different lands isn't going to be that difficult. Command Tower, the usual selection, what you'd expect to see in a mana base for any blue, black, red deck. As for the ramp, I went a bit heavy on the ramp, I'm going to be honest, because I was trying to avoid some of the more expensive cards. I went down the Mox Tantalite, Soul Talisman, Soul Ring route to start with, and then backed that up with Arcane Signet, one of each the diamonds in the right colours, Mind Stone and Thought Vessel, because we want to make sure we can hold on to everything we do draw with this deck. So, what am I trying to do with this deck? And apologies, I don't know why Inalla's picture's not appearing over here. What I'm trying to do is basically go down the route where we're drawing cards, getting the value, and then we've got a few ways of winning, which I'm hoping work, if my brain's working correctly as I've built this deck, but I believe they do. Just so we know, when I was playing against this deck in real life, I won up with a Myrel deck, which is obviously on the channel somewhere if you haven't seen it, so bear that in mind. But anyway, Inalla. So, how are we starting off with this? Well, we're starting off with Wheel of Fate, because it's the cheap version of all the Wheel of Fortune. And discarding your hand, drawing 7's fine. We've also got Serum Visions in just so I had a one-trick pony. I wanted at least one mana instant. You can play Brainstorm, you can play loads of 1 mana instants if you want to keep the cost of this deck down. But I just decided to go with Serum Visions just for the scry ability at the end of it. Elixir of Immortality is here, as usual in most of my decks nowadays, just to make sure we can shuffle everything back in and hope we don't get this milled. But it's really around about the 2 drops things start getting interesting. Myrel's here, just to keep the cost of our instants and sorceries down. I'll point out now, we've got 37 lands, 23 creatures, 39 other spells, most of which are instants and sorceries, so there are a few enchantments, but most are instants and sorceries. So Myrel really does help us get that cost down. There's no counter spells in this deck either. You can replace some of the cards and play counters if you've got them, but I decided to try and do a pure more, let's go with the instants and sorcery beatdown route, if you can call it beatdown. Sight Grift's in, just for control the board a little bit. Snapcaster to flash them back. Snapcaster also works with Inalla, so technically if you've got enough mana you can get a copy of Snapcaster and get 2 of your instants and sorceries flashed back in 1 turn. But that's the same for all the non-legendary creatures. I'm not going to mention it every turn, so just bear in mind you can pay that 1 for Inalla as we go through this deck tech today. Watcher of Tomorrow, I believe Inalla works with this, so that should be quite fun. Expressive iterations in, just so we can get some cards out of our library into our hand. Goblin Electromancer, cut spells down. Storm Chaser Mage, we are going to be casting a lot of non-creature spells. Let's get some damage in with this one. Terminate for a little bit of board control. Rest of it is all the ramp I talked about. Lab Maniacs in here. I've put this in as a backup win condition. I'm not 100% sure if we're going to be able to draw our entire deck, but it is possible because some of the cards we've got coming up theoretically, so I figured I'd better have this in just in case things went pear-shaped and I needed a secondary win condition. Tribute Mage is in just so we can go and find our ramps. We've got all of these ramp cards here at 2 mana that we need to go and find. Therefore, I figured having a Tribute Mage would be quite good, and if we can copy it with Inalla, so you're looking at playing this when you've got 4 mana available. Going and finding a couple of extra ramp spells seemed like a good plan to me. Chaos Warp, just so we control the board again a little bit. Yes, we do run the risk of giving them something really good off the top of their library, but if it happens, it happens. Deal with it. Aaron Craig Pyromancer as well, just to get that extra little bit of lightning bolt going around, because we will be drawing a couple of cards, I hope, each turn. Dual Caster Mage, again, for Inalla target, just so we can copy instants and sorceries. And Jory and Rune Diver, just so when we draw our second spell, we draw a card, which could be our second draw, basically. Bear that in mind. Curiosity Crafter turned up from Commander 2021 at long last. And I quite like this. Gives us another way of having no maximum hand size. And our creatures, when they deal damage, combat damage, we get to draw cards. So, yeah, we'll have this in the deck, definitely. Also, it's a wizard, so we could get 2 of them. Couple of card draws, yeah, each one triggered separately. Archmage to return stuff when we copy it and bring it to play. Archmage Emeritus, just to draw the cards when we hit all our instants and sorcery spells being cast. Tauren, so instants and sorceries give us some more creatures, and the Drakes are quite nice. Damnation and Chain Reaction to control the board a bit. I've put Kess Dissonant Mage in just because I think we have got one ability to cast an instance or sorcery from our graveyard each turn, so it's worth having this Kess in. And I do have a weak spot for Teferi's Puzzle Box in these sort of decks. And it's one of the reasons I've got one of the next cards in, which everyone hates, I know. But I like Teferi's Puzzle Box. It is a good giggle, getting a new hand every turn. So, yeah, we'll go with that. There's another way of doing it as well in a minute. Puppeteer Clique's in because I didn't realise it was a wizard until I was searching through wizards in my collection. And I kind of figured if we've got kill some creatures off with like Damnation, Chain Reaction, having 2 copies of Puppeteer Clique hit the board might be quite good. Now, obviously, the copy won't come back when it dies because it's exiled, so the persist doesn't work. But when Puppeteer Clique dies, it comes back. You can pay the 1 copy against. It's not a token. You get another creature. So, yeah, seemed like a plan. I've chucked Jaya Ballard in purely for the +1, get 3 red mana for the instants and sorcery spells. No other reason to have it in the deck. Apart from maybe the -8 if we can get there. But, don't think that's going to happen that often, but it might do. Master of the Way, just for a bit of direct damage if we need to. You know, card draw, getting the damage dealt. Yeah, it could probably come out. It's probably not the best card in the world. You can take it out and put another non-legendary wizard in if you want to, but I figured it was worth a try. That brings me on to Najala the Stormrunner. Get to cast our sorcery spells with flash, and when it attacks we can pay the 2, and then we can copy the next instant sorcery spell we play that turn, and choose new copies targets for it. So yeah, why not? And it's a 5/4 wizard for 5 mana, which isn't the end of the world. This is the card I was talking about with Puzzle Box, because everyone really doesn't like Nekusar the Mind Razor when the Puzzle Box is in play because of all the damage they take, but you know, it's the way it goes in Magic. And it's a kind of win condition. Because of all the instants and sorceries, Shark Typhoon's here. Hello, thank you. Shark Typhoon's in as well, just to get small tokens that we hopefully win with. Flood of Tears to bounce everything, and then hopefully return stuff as well. I kept Mind's Desire in as well. I'm not sure we're going to get it for the storm value of more than like 2, maybe 3 if we're lucky. But yeah, there's a reason why it's here, and I'll get to it in a minute. You can't quite see it at the moment. I've chucked a Kansas the Omnipotent in just because it's a fun old card that I've had around for ages, and I haven't played it in many decks, so it went in here. Arcane Bombardment. I don't need to explain this one to you all. I'm sure you've all seen it from Streets of New Capenna by now. It is basically the one that we want to have in play, so all the get extra uses out of all of our instants and sorceries. And I've also chucked in Chandra Awakened Inferno purely because I want to make sure that our lovely opponents get all those nice emblems that ping them every turn. So yeah, I'll probably upset people doing it, but yeah, whatever. This is the other one I quite like as well. It's like a creature version of Teferi's puzzle box, but this one triggers every time you cast something, so you do cycle through your deck quite quickly. And I did a whole deck tech on Argent late last year, but I still love this card. It's still great. One of each version of Niv Mizzet, which can make life very complicated for your opponent with the amount of card draw you get and damage you'll be pinging around. Unusually for me, we've got a couple of extra turn spells, so we've got Omen's Epiphany and Nexus of Fate in here, just because I figured, they kind of give us big sharks, but we'll have them in anyway. Mind's Dilation, just to annoy our opponents a little bit. Blatant Thievery, so we can go and gain control of stuff our opponents control. There may be things we need to nick. I don't know. More arcane signets, more soul rings are the usual targets, more mana ramp, or maybe there's some big creature or something you don't want anyone else to have and you want it, so go nick it with Blatant Thievery. Overflowing Insight. It can be a kind of a mini win condition if we've got an opponent on 7 life and Nekuza's in play. We can just make them draw 7 and kill them. But 9 times out of 10, this will be going straight at our face, just so we can draw those extra cards. Because, like I say, the reason's coming. Blood Money again to control the board, and the treasure tokens help. Brass's Bounty again for the treasure tokens. We really hope we can get a Brass's Bounty under Arcane Bombardment as soon as possible. I'm playing the right colours. Here's the Cruel Ultimatum. We might as well have it in. Get the opponent, sacrifice a creature, discard 3, then lose 5. You just hit the person who's ahead on life with this. And most people don't mind it. The only downside to this is because there's no colourless mana involved in it. We can't use Besiege You from over here to make sure it's uncounterable. But yeah, we'll deal with that. Treasure Chest. Treasure Cruise. Treasure Chest. No. Treasure Cruise. Just to get some card draw on the go. Clone Legion, copy everything an opponent controls. That gives us a bit more win condition. Magic Mirror, you've got to have this in nowadays if you're playing this sort of sorcery deck, I think. Just the no maximum hand size and the card draw. Yes, it's an artifact. Yes, it'll get taken out quite readily, but you might get an extra card or 2 out of it. Blasphemous Act again to control the board. And the reason we have all these things in here is Omniscience, and that's one of the reasons we have Midas Desire in here. I have had decks where I've played Omniscience before, and as soon as Omniscience comes down, people concede. It's not, it's 10 mana. You've got to get to 10 mana. It's a lot easier getting to 10 mana in a blue-green ramp deck. It's a little more complicated getting to it in a deck like this, in a Grixis base deck. But it's still Omniscience, and it's the wizard spell, isn't it? Even with Jace in the picture there. I still think of it as a wizard spell, hence why I decided to include it in this deck for a little bit of theme. But that's it, really. That is my take on Inalla. I hope I've said that right. If you liked the video, hit the like button now, because I'm sure you've already hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment, let me know what I've missed out. I'm sure there are things I've missed out, because I've built this really quickly off the top of my head this morning. So, if there's any specific cards you think I should have included in the deck, let me know down below in the comments. And, come back tomorrow when the next video's up. But thanks for being here. Take care. And hopefully, don't forget there's a link to my stream in the description down below. Come and join us on stream. Come and prove to me how bad I am at some of these decks. And come and beat me up when you see me on there. Okay? But, hopefully I'll see you all soon. But thanks for watching the video. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.